Okay, this is my review of episode 6 of season 2 of Vinland Saga. Spoiler alert. Another slow episode, a lot of exposition. Um, got very existential at the end. We'll talk about that. I'm trying to remember, like at the beginning, especially the first 4 episodes of season 1, it was kind of slow, and it was the setup for Thor's death and then Thorfinn's journey for the rest of the season. It's also very shocking to see how much Thorfinn has changed. This episode in particular, he had a physical change. He had a ponytail, which I'm terrible with looks. I saw Thorfinn with a ponytail. I thought he was a new character until I realized that's who it was. But anyway, the episode starts out with he and Einar in the fields trying to clear stumps out of the ground. And they're digging them by hand, chopping the roots, and trying to pull them. And it's not working because obviously stumps are very difficult to get out of the ground. And they're like, basically they need a horse to do it, but they can't get a horse from I would say the free workers on the farm, the ones who aren't slaves, because they still treat them like crap. And they actually go try to get a horse from someone, and they basically tell them you're a slave, you can't get a horse. He does reference that. Oh my God, what's the guy's name that patched up Thorfinn? His name eludes me. But he told them that they can go get a horse. And they mentioned that he was a former slave. So it explains why he was so nice to Thorfinn and Einar. Anyway, they can't get a horse. They're walking along. They come across this old man whose name I also cannot remember. I don't know if it's my age or just it's a lot of names thrown at you. But old man sees them and says, I've got a solution for you. If you come and help me in my field do some chores, then I'll get you a horse. So, I mean, these guys are already working their behinds off trying to clear these fields, but they divert their attention and they start working for this old man for a little bit. They don't work a long time. They're clearing rocks out of a field, chopping some wood for him, getting some, fetching water from a well. Just little chores around his land. And the next thing you know, they're in their own field with a horse. This guy actually was being honest. They were nervous that they were being taken advantage of. But the guy actually gives them a horse. So they end up clearing a bunch of stumps. And Einar is just over the moon happy about this. So they're walking back with the horse. And some of the field hands, the free guys, they see him and they think they've stolen the horse. They're trying to explain to him, look, this old man gave it to us, allowed us to use it. So they finally realize that the old man is not just an old man. He is actually the father of their master. Kettle, I think, is the master's name. Can't remember the dad's name, the old man. But this is the master's father. I mean, like, he's the most important person on the whole farm. So that's a revelation. A little bit more information. So they go to the house. They're taking the horse back to this old man, to Kettle's father. Because they call him some kind of the old master, I think. They call him the old master or something like that. Anyway, they take the horse back, and Kettle is actually at his father's house, and they're arguing. Father's worried about him. And he actually says at one point, hey, I don't want you to get hurt. You're lucky Snake was around last time when you fell. He's trying to get his father to stop working and come move closer to him. Father wants to live on his own and work on his own, which he does. But this reintroduces Snake into the story. So these guys, they see the master. They say their goodbyes to him. They go inside where the old master is, and they go into this room, and Snake is, sleeping there. And it was funny because Einar's freaking out, and Einar's on one this episode. It's like, he's excited. He's like on some kind of, he's either really high or really excited or really upset, and Thorfinn's just even keeled and calm. It is so crazy to see the development of Thorfinn's character and how it completely almost flipped from season 1, where he was the one that was more prone to be on a high or a low or upset about something. Anyway, they see Snake, he's sleeping, and he gets up and he sees them, and then they end up going into the main room. Snake and the old man are eating, and they're arguing. The old man's fussing at Snake for not doing anything. Snake's telling him, hey, it's my night crusade to keep the farm safe. And they have an argument about this. Meanwhile, they're like telling Thorfinn and Einar to eat. Einar again gets really excited. He and Thorfinn are both really surprised that they're allowed to eat. But they're treated very humanely by the old master, which makes sense because the master Kettle actually treats them very humanely as well. So obviously he got it from his father. But anyway, Snake stays with the old man for whatever reason. He does these night patrols, but I was thinking maybe Snake was Kettle's younger brother or something. We still don't know other than he does the night patrols. But he and the old master seem to have a really interesting relationship, I'll say. I don't know, cool, because the old master sounded like the old master kicked him out at the end of this episode. But anyway, they're talking and have a really interesting existential conversation about the farm, because they're talking about how much land it is and how it's hard to guard that much land. And the old master is basically saying, my son won't listen to me. He's got too much land. He's like, he keeps gobbling up land because he's afraid of when you have a lot of wealth, you attain more wealth and more wealth and more wealth because you're afraid of losing it. Seemed like an anti-capitalism message, or at least a warning against capitalism run amok. You take your pick where you fall as far as capitalism is concerned, but this episode talks about the dangers of it and just acquiring too much wealth. And end of the episode shows Thorfinn pondering this idea as he's looking over the land. It was very reminiscent of when Canute and the monk were having discussions about love. The things kind of slowed down. They were talking about something really serious, and just giving you something to ponder. I also like the fact that these episodes, this show, it gives you these grand ideas. It throws these grand ideas at you. But it tries kind of not to beat you over the head with them. Kind of gives it to you subtly. It just gives you something to think about. It's clear where the show's writers' minds are and how they feel about it. But it doesn't get in the way of the show. So it's really interesting that they introduce these concepts. So at the end of the episode, they've cleared the stumps, and now they're using a horse to plow the land. They actually have two horses yoked together, plowing the land. And Thorfinn is completely a novice at farming. He hasn't done any of this stuff. And obviously, Einar is a farming, veteran. And Einar's kind of ribbing Thorfinn a little bit, calling him a baby. He's like a baby, not knowing what he's doing. Thorfinn's like, don't call me a baby. But they're, it's good natured. They have a really good relationship. And at the end, Einar is showing Thorfinn how to throw seeds. And he said, Einar makes a comment, trust what a friend tells you. And Thorfinn says, a friend? And so Einar again, he's all, he gets all crazy and stuff. He's like, we're friends, right? We're friends. It's like, man, calm down, Dad, go. Anyway, at the end of the episode, I think, because it pans up and you hear a voice say, yo, we're friends. Pretty sure it was Thorfinn. And they had aged again, if I'm not mistaken. They had little goatees, similar to mine. Not as good looking as mine, but I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah, they have goatees going, and they're, aged some more as they're farming this land and throwing seeds. So they're actually starting to seed the land. So, time is moving along. And I'm curious to see, this is episode 6, 24 episodes. We're about a fourth of the way through season 2. I'm curious to see if they're going to get freed by the end of season 2, because this is the fall now, and they're already planting. Curious to see I'm curious to see if they're going to get freed. Curious to see when the story of Thorfinn, which is all the story I'm considering with Einar and all this, and then the story of Canute merge back together at some point. They have to, I would assume. And I'm curious to see if Einar will calm down a little bit. And then like just to see if Thorfinn, because every time something happens, I'm waiting for Thorfinn's warrior side to kick back in. Snake, oh, this is running long, I'm sorry. Snake is talking. I thought this was actually going to be a short review. Snake mentions to Thorfinn about the farm. They're talking about how many people it takes to guard the farm. And he asks Thorfinn, he's like, it's you need so many people or whatever. He's like, right, Thorfinn, because he knows Thorfinn's a warrior. Remember, he kind of got a little bit out of him. So I'm curious to see if Thorfinn's going to join Snake and start guarding the farm. Anyway, I don't want to get too long. It was a good episode. It was solid. Slow. It's funny, I'm getting used to the action. But I'm more than happy to not see slicing and dicing. So we'll see you in episode 7.